Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about this week's TV news. This is our end of the week video. We use this to kind of wrap up any sort of announcements or updates on the channel. We also pick our favourite episode of TV of the week at the end of the show, and also just sort of give an update of anything that's kind of coming up or anything like that. But main thing, of course, is the news. Before we get to that, though, in terms of updating things that happened this past week, what's coming next week, we did, of course, start reviewing Comrade Detective from Amazon, which is one of their new original shows. It's kind of a satire, comedy, spoof. It's like a Romanian show that's dubbed in English with Channing Tatum and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but it was actually just made with the intention of that happening rather than an actual Romanian show that was made years ago. It's good fun. We're 4 episodes in. There's only 6 episodes, so we're almost done. We'll have that done soon. So check that out. We did decide to drop The Sinner this week. We tried episode 2, because we weren't super positive on episode 1. We thought there was potential, but we were feeling kind of mixed on it. Episode 2 kind of solidified that we probably weren't all that into keeping up with it, so we dropped that this week. And in terms of stuff coming next week, of course, the one thing to mention is The Defenders, which is coming next Friday. So you can expect the news a little bit early next week so that we can make room for Defenders episodes when it launches.
Yes, that's going to be fun, I think.
It should be.
I know, I feel like after Iron Fist and season 2 of Daredevil, I don't know. I'm just a bit more cautious.
I want to specify there the back half of season 2 of Daredevil.
Yeah, okay. The first 4 episodes were phenomenal.
They were. I want to point that out because those first 4 were great.
Right. But the stuff we didn't like was the stuff that's relevant to this show.
That is true. No, I'm not gonna lie. Iron Fist did leave a bad taste in the mouth, but I like the other three's characters. I like a lot. I'm looking forward to the interactions and stuff.
Yeah.
There's only 8 episodes, so even if it ends up not being great, we
power through it.
We can power through it. And we got Sigourney Weaver as the villain, which I'm looking forward to. So there's things to be happy about.
Yeah.
But so that's coming next week, and that's pretty much it. Otherwise, it's business as usual and everything else we've been doing recently. So I guess with that said, we will get into the news, and we start with some renewals and cancellations, and some premiere dates, as we typically do. So first up, Glow has been renewed for season 2 on Netflix. This is great news. I love season 1. Me and Matt watched this. We liked it a lot. I was expecting a season 2, but it's nice to get a confirmation and know that I can expect it sometime next year. So
that's cool.
Good news for me. I'm happy. Also, a couple of things that we don't actually cover necessarily, but I thought I'd throw them in here just as quick mentions. Snowfall's been renewed for season 2 on FX. That one kind of slipped past us. It's still airing its first season, but that's been renewed. As has Insecure on HBO for season 3, and Ballers has been renewed for season 4, also on HBO. So a few shows there that have been renewed. In terms of cancellations, though, we have one, and it is Netflix. Gypsy has been cancelled after 1 season. That was the Naomi Watts show that debuted like a month ago. It wasn't that long.
No, it was definitely over the summer period.
Because we considered doing the first episode and seeing if we liked it, and then we saw the trailer and went, no, this isn't really for us.
And seems like it's not really for anyone.
Well, the reviews came out and it was very mixed, very kind of lukewarm. A lot of people were calling it really slow and kind of felt like it was going nowhere. Turns out that mixed receptions, led to this. It's led to a cancellation.
Not good if anyone who enjoyed it, or good that care, but I think Netflix does need to be cancelling things. I feel like that, like even a lot of the things that don't perform fantastically typically get given a season 2.
Oh yeah, but how much would you want them to be cancelling exactly?
Just some of the ones that are on the lower end of the performance. Even if it's something I enjoy, I do think there's got to be a point where they do start cancelling things that aren't performing that well for them, because they keep adding so much content.
To a point, I don't think there should be like an arbitrary cutoff though.
No, I'm not saying like there should be a limit, but there's got to be a point where they're getting so many new shows coming in that it's like this, it's unsustainable.
But it should always be relevant to the show itself, and not just because it's another one.
Oh, sure.
Because I mean, if you just went on kind of the overall impact of a show, like I don't think we'd have seen us. We've not seen it yet, but like we're getting a season 2 of the OA. Like,
Yeah.
if they started being a lot more scissor happy, I feel like stuff like that might go, and I don't want that.
No, that's fair.
But no, to be fair, they've cancelled a lot recently. This is next in a long line.
No, it is. Yeah.
They cancelled Sense8. It's getting a sort of final one-off movie to wrap things up, but they cancelled that. They cancelled Hemlock Grove. They cancelled Bloodline, and what was that one? The Get Down. That was it.
Yeah. I'm a little bit concerned about The Crown because that's really expensive for them to make. I know we've got season 2 coming. I think they just announced the date in like December, but it's like the by far their most expensive show.
Why are you spoiling the news?
I didn't know you had that in there.
Well, it's in the list. The Crown season 2.
Okay, I'm sorry.
They announced the premiere date. It's December 8th. Not that it matters now. Connor spoiled it.
Oh, apologies. See, this is a lack of communication. He likes to surprise me with the news. The downside to that is that I don't expect all these things in there because I didn't even realise that was necessarily this week.
Just keep your mouth shut about things that have not...
I just happened to see the teaser trailer.
Just keep your mouth shut about things that have not been brought up yet, and we're good. It's that simple. It's easy.
I assumed that was from a couple of weeks ago, and you were like, you didn't bother mentioning it because it's The Crown. It's just season 2 premiere day. It's not a big deal. I thought you just skipped over it.
Well, I am appalled that you think I am that wishy-washy with my collection of the news.
This is exactly what I think of you.
Appalled. But yeah, so there you go. So a bunch of renewals. Gypsy cancelled. Crown premiere dates December 8th. But speaking of premiere dates, we get a premiere date for Mr. Robot season 3 along with the trailer for said season. The show is coming back on October 11th, which is its usual night. It's still a Wednesday. So it's just a couple of months now. It's kind of exciting.
I know. I can't wait.
It's kind of weird though because we were near the end of the season this time last year.
I know. I'm getting withdrawal symptoms. It's like, come on. I'm waiting for it. I should have been mainlining this already.
So obviously we both watched the trailer. All I'll say is that it looks dark as shit. It looks like it's going to be really tense, and I'm all for it. Give it to me.
The trailer has one hell of a tone.
Yes. There's a lot of people walking around, and I mean, not that Mr. Robot was ever brightly lit, but this trailer in particular feels like a lot of walking around.
In lights, yeah.
People walking about with guns, people walking about with the old F Society mask on, and all the rest of it. At least one new character who seems relatively important. It's just a nice variety of things. It's got a really nice tone, and I'm excited. I'm glad it revealed almost nothing though.
Right, that's it. I still know nothing about what to expect. It's like, okay, I get, there's maybe a slight tonal, I don't want to say shift, because that feels unfair, but maybe slope.
It feels like shit's going down.
Yeah. It does. It feels like, okay, now it's getting started. So,
all I will say though is I'm expecting a lot more Tyrell this season. Because I think there was more of them in this trailer than there was of them in season 2.
That might actually be accurate.
So, yeah. But there you go. So that's Mr. Robot. That's coming in October. Good news. Cannot wait. So, next up, a couple of updates and some things. First of all, apparently discussions have started on a potential new season of Hannibal. Now, there's not actually much to say here. Basically, there were at the time when season 3 concluded, and they knew it was like the end of the days, they weren't allowed to actually even begin talks with anyone else about continuing the show until 2 years after that final episode aired, and we've hit that basically. So it was a producer, Martha De Laurentiis, who said that the talks have started, but there's nothing to actually tell yet. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going somewhere. It could fall through, but if you're hoping for Hannibal,
that's the thing. I think there is a reasonable chance of it coming back, just because it's still, as much as we have opinions on season 3, I think it still has a general critical acclaim overall. Just when you think of the brand.
Here's a question though: do you want Hannibal to come back? Do you want Hannibal to come back?
I don't know. I don't know. I love season 1 and 2 more than you do.
Mm-hmm.
And season 3, I haven't finished. So,
Season 3 I hated. Season 1, 2 I thought were okay. I didn't love it though. Like I didn't like, everyone was going raving about it and talking about how great Hannibal was. I thought it was okay. Like I never connected to it in any big way. Like if I'm only to watch something about Hannibal Lecter, I'm watching either Manhunter or Silence of the Lambs. Those are my two movies.
No, that's fair enough.
The rest of them I don't really care for all that much. I mean, I never saw Red Dragon, but directed by Brett Ratner, I feel quite confident in what my opinion of that may be. Okay. Also, full disclosure, I have not seen Hannibal Rising, but it looked like garbage, so I think I'm quite confident in my thoughts here.
Yeah, that's fair. No, like I said, I didn't finish season 3 because I just thought I didn't hate it, but I wasn't into it enough to keep watching.
I hated the first half of the season. See, the second half did get better, but
I didn't get to the second half.
It never. I still felt pissed off at it. Like by the time it finished, I was just kind of like, "All right, okay, is that the end?" I think the problem for me is because I never got attached to it the way a lot of people did. Is that the ending really banks on you giving a shit about these characters, and I never really did. Because to me, that show wasn't about characters; it was more about playing mind games with these pawns in the story.
Yeah.
And I never really grew attached to a lot of the characters because of how they were used. But hey, that's a story for another time. If it does come back and we have to review it, I can just see the hate comments on that.
We have to do at
episodes.
least the first episode back.
We probably do if it does come back. I'm not committing to the whole thing though, because
we'll see. We'll see the quality. If it's on par with season 1 and 2.
Sure. That said, I feel like, see if season 1 was airing now,
yeah,
I feel like we would get a lot of hate on each video for my kind of
probably
lack of enthusiasm. We would. I'm positive of it.
Yeah.
But taste's a thing. The simple fact is I just don't love Brian Fuller. Like American Gods is not bad as well. Like I think there's
I enjoy that more than you do as well.
Yeah. So anything with Brian Fuller's name attached to it, I just kind of go and it's kind of like a double tinged because. One, it's because I'm not going to like it that much, and then two, it's because everyone else is going to love it, and it's going to paint me as the negative guy. You know, like everyone's going to be raving about it, and it's frustrating. It's not like with Game of Thrones where
oh, here we go again.
Where I kind of relish in being the odd man out with that.
Whereas with Hannibal, you just actually want to like it more.
Yes, I would like to like that show more.
Yeah.
And I don't, and it bugs me. Whereas with Game of Thrones, I'm like, I don't typically like fantasy stuff like this anyway, so it's just whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not your thing.
But hey, so Hannibal talks are happening, but that's all it is right now. It's just talks, so don't get too excited. But hope's in the air. So, next up, we get an update on The Passage, which, if you recall, Fox are doing this. This was the pilot they were sort of doing off schedule, so it wasn't quick enough for pilot season, but they were doing it for the hopes maybe of a mid-season debut. If you wanted a reminder of what this was, The Passage begins as a character-driven government conspiracy thriller and morphs into a post-apocalyptic saga with vampires. The series spans more than a century and focuses on a young girl named Amy who must save the human race. So cool, it's the sort of thing we would check out.
Yeah.
Because, duh. So basically the news here is that this will not make mid-season because they want to reshoot a lot of the pilot. Which obviously sounds on face value concerning, but to me it doesn't actually sound that concerning because to me it's like, well, I don't have any attachment to this anyway, so if it does go away, I'm not that fussed.
Yeah.
But to me this says, no, they really like this. Like, enough that, okay, the pilot they shot, they obviously have problems with, but they like this idea enough that they are willing to go back to the drawing board and do it again.
Right, that's what it says to me as well. Like I say, it's like, no, okay, it wasn't good enough, and they recognise that, so they're not it's not going to just shovel out some random shit, but they'd like it enough to really try.
They see
Because it's
potential in it.
expensive for them to redo it all.
Especially something like this, post-apocalyptic.
Right, exactly.
And I think this is Fox wanting their Game of Thrones actually to bring that up. Not that I see it being the same that kind of thing, just in the sense that it's a big genre show that's probably a big budget, maybe not quite as big budget as
It's
Thrones
true.
because
Everyone wants their Game of Thrones, don't they?
that's why we got that Wizard of Oz show from
Oh
NBC,
yeah. NBC's shit Game of Thrones.
and that was January this year, I think.
Yeah, it
Um,
was.
Like that was, but that was obviously what they wanted that to be. They wanted
Yeah.
that to catch on to the zeitgeist and everyone to be into it, and it just obviously didn't do that. But that's what they were chasing. That's what they were hoping for.
So this is the thing though, with people knowing Game of Thrones is coming to an end. You know, like okay, you've got one more year. Now's kind of the perfect time to get people into it. Whatever you want that replacement to be, because it's like people will start looking.
I can almost guarantee that it won't be a fantasy show.
Oh, absolutely.
The thing here that I think's unique is that a lot of the networks, especially this like vampire post-apocalyptic, I think they're going for that Game of Thrones kind of zeitgeist and type of audience, but they're not trying to just recreate that because what they're seeing is it's a genre show that's big budget and treated seriously, so it's got a big following. That's kind of what a lot of them are trying to emulate. The ones who are specifically going for the fantasy, I think a lot of them will fail because it reminds me a lot of Lost. Like Lost was this big hit, that caught on, everyone was into it, and all of a sudden, like a couple of years later, there was all these ensemble mystery shows with the sort of slight science fiction bent to them, and all of them either sucked or even the ones that were kind of decent. It still felt like okay, it's still a Lost, like not knockoff, but
yeah, it's the case of this is all right, but I could just watch Lost.
Exactly.
Whereas here it's like this is these fantasy ones are all right, but I could just watch Game of Thrones, which is the superior version.
And I like the idea of all of them. Like, Invasion sounded kind of cool. Jericho was actually pretty decent for the first few episodes. I lost track of it though. But, there was some decent stuff in there. But yeah, so I feel like, like that, they're going to chase this. But I think the one that does succeed, it'll just be because it's different enough that it'll catch on. I think just doing another fantasy one won't.
This one has a chance, I think. In the sense that it's different enough that...
Oh, yeah. I would put this into, this is different from what Game of Thrones is enough to... But I feel like that is them wanting that audience in a broad sense.
Probably, yeah. Everyone wants it.
Obviously when it comes to fantasy, I'm somewhat hopeful for this Witcher show that Netflix are involved in, because when it comes to fantasy stuff, the one name I can give you that I like is The Witcher.
Yeah, we got a few fantasy things coming up, though, haven't we? I can't give you a specific. There's a lot of fantasy book sagas over the last few months we've been talking about.
Yeah, there's been at least 3 or 4 of them. At least one at Sci-Fi, one at somewhere else. There was a bunch of them. And the funny thing is, there's been 4 or 5. I couldn't name you a single one of them. And until I see more of it and I get a trailer and I can put images to the name and
Right, that's it. Like Witcher. To be fair, the only reason you remember Witcher so well is because you're familiar with the property already, though.
Well, obviously, if I'd never heard of it, I wouldn't.
This would be another fantasy one.
I would think nothing of it. And if anything, this one would Witcher, just from a description, it's gritty and it's dark and adult. I'd be like, this sounds more like Game of Thrones than probably any of the other ones. But with with Witcher, I've played all of Witcher 3. I've played a bit of the first 2 games. I know what Witcher is. I know what it does. That's the only reason why I'm excited about that, is because I already have that connection to it. But so that's the passage. Alright, let's get into some one bit of casting before we get to the meat. We've got one bit of casting. Now there was a couple of casting things for other CWDC shows, but they're all kind of guest stars for this, just for this obscure villain that you've never heard of. Whereas this for Black Lightning appears to be the arch nemesis characters being cast. So this is a bit more important. So Marvin Jones III, aka Crondon, has been cast as Tobias Whale on Black Lightning. And I believe that is the arch nemesis. He is an albino character. He's the leader of a gang called the 100, but before that, he was a corrupt politician who was brought down by Alvin Pierce, who is Black Lightning's father. Enraged, Whale murders Alvin Pierce. Whale murders Alvin Pierce and goes to ground, but when Black Lightning comes out of retirement, Whale also must face his biggest adversary. So, yeah, get your arch nemesis. I don't know a lot about Black Lightning, even though I'm a DC fan. He's kind of a smaller character. Certainly, I've never read any solo Black Lightning stuff. So, but But no, I just thought it was worth maybe pointing out what the big bad villain was going to be.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the cool stuff. Definitely the headlining thing this week, and of course it's something that's a reboot or a relaunch or a continuation.
It is every week, isn't it?
So, in news that I did not expect to see this week, YouTube Red has greenlit a series. They have greenlit a continuation to The Karate Kid.
See, I saw this news, the continuation to Karate Kid.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look into it enough to realize it was YouTube Red. So this threw me.
It is currently titled Cobra Kai, which was the name of the dojo in the movie. It's going to be 10 episodes, half hour long. It's coming in 2018. It picks up 30 years after the events of the 1984 All Valley Karate Tournament. A down-and-out Johnny Lawrence seeks redemption by reopening the infamous Cobra Kai Karate Dojo, reigniting his rivalry with now successful Daniel LaRusso, who has been struggling to maintain balance in his life without the guidance of his mentor, Mr. Miyagi. And the actors who played those characters are coming back. Which is kind of which I think is the really noticeable thing about this, is like, because I'm pretty sure that, what's his name, Ralph Macchio, who plays Daniel, the main character, the Karate Kid in question, the titular Karate Kid. I'm fairly certain he stopped acting.
Really?
I'm pretty sure he's one of these actors who you find out like after he hit his 20s, he went down a different path or something like that. I'm pretty sure
I think he was in an episode of How I Met Your Mother.
Maybe he still does the occasional thing, but I'm sure he's one of these actors who owns a restaurant or something, and that's actually his main thing. Right. And I'm just guessing restaurant. I'm not saying that's the thing, but he's got his own business. Like I feel like he's one of those guys. Maybe I'm mixing him up with someone else.
Because the pair of them were definitely in How I Met Your Mother at one point.
The pair?
Yeah, the other guy as well.
What, Johnny?
Yeah, what's his name? The actor. I'm blanking.
William Zabka.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Just to me. But yeah, so yeah, Johnny is the guy who fought at the end of that movie. What I do think is weird though is that they've got a rivalry, because the way that movie ended, it was kind of like they earned each other's respect. Like it didn't end with him like hating each other at the end of the movie. Like they solved it.
Yeah, but you can still be a business rival with someone that you respect.
Sure, it doesn't really sound like that though.
No, I don't know.
I'm not particularly a fan of this announcement. I like the Karate Kid, the movie, the original. I grew up on it. It's the fun stuff. But this really feels like super desperate to me. This feels like let's pick something that's got name value and turn it into... Now, maybe the idea they've got for this is good, and maybe the final product will be enjoyable. This is not me saying I think that the show itself will be bad, because it might be great for all I know.
Yeah.
But this... Obviously, we keep having these comebacks. These are, let's go back to an old movie or an old show and do a soft reboot or a continuation or just a flat-out remake these days. And obviously one of the main complaints about remakes and all that kind of thing is they're just using it for the name recognition, which in a lot of cases feels really weird, because you do this thing where the people who recognise the name are just annoyed you're remaking it, and the people who are younger who don't care about the old thing don't care about the name. So you have this weird... that's to me why the RoboCop remake bombed.
Yeah.
Everyone who cares about RoboCop is like, what the hell are you doing? Stop it. And then people who are young enough that they don't care about the old RoboCop are like, I don't know what that is, I don't care. So... and then you make a shitty movie on top of it, and it's like,
Yeah, no, this feels like YouTube Red or want to make a statement saying, no, we're going to make content, but just so people go, oh, YouTube Red actually has something, even if it doesn't end up being good, but it kind of puts them as actual players in the game, because this looks like a real thing when you've got actual people attached to it.
It does for now. I mean, once we actually see it, if it looks really cheap or something like that.
Oh, yeah, it could do. But just on face value now, it's like, okay, yeah, that's right, Karate Kid, they got the actors. It's like, okay, this is a real thing.
I'm just honestly, Karate Kid's one of those perfect examples of a movie that shouldn't have had any sequels. Right? Karate Kid 2 is boring as shit. Karate Kid 3 is a bit more fun because it's definitely more cheesy. It's more this revenge story, and it doesn't need to exist, right? Karate Kid's a one and done. It is the definition of a one and done movie. Wrapped up, doesn't need any more. It definitely didn't need a remake when it's actually Kung Fu, even though they still call it the Karate Kid. And, a TV show years later is just like, you know what? Sometimes you don't have to milk something. Just let it be its own thing. Let it be its individual movie. Just let it exist. Doesn't need to be more.
Yeah, it's true.
It's complete. And I feel like something like Karate Kid specifically, it just feels like that isn't really. It just doesn't feel like something that lends itself to the idea of being okay. Let's do sequels and franchise it out, and have continuations. Some things should just be allowed to finish and stay finished. And it almost feels like nothing can escape that anymore. I swear that when they go after Back to the Future, I will. The fumes.
I give it 3 years.
The fumes that will be coming from my ears when they announce something Back to the Future continuation or remake or whatever bollocks. I don't know. I just this one's irked me because it felt like it crossed the line. Where like, really, Karate Kid? We're bringing Karate Kid back because at least like Evil Dead, it's like Evil Dead's a sort of stupid thing where I can see the adventures of like Ash and silly things going forward, or even I don't know what else has came back recently or what have they announced. Well, there's another one coming up in a minute. We'll get to that. But I felt like why Karate? Why more Karate Kid? Movie is completely fine. It is completely finished on its own. It doesn't need any more. Let it be its own thing. Just done. Stop it. Stop this thing. And I know I'm in the minority of this, but this like we didn't need a single Star Wars movie after Return of the Jedi. That's to say that
definitely in the minority.
Don't get me wrong, I like The Force Awakens, I do. And I imagine I'll probably like The Last Jedi and whatever Episode 9 ends up being. But we didn't need any more. It was finished.
You're wrong on that.
No, it was finished.
But it wasn't finished. There was always a longer plan.
Piss off. I don't care. It was done. It was.
No. There was a bigger plan. That was there from the start.
Are we talking about the prequels right now? Are we talking about this bigger plan? Is the prequels
at the same time?
Oh, what else is the big plan? What was the?
If you go back to when New Hope came out, there's stuff in the novelization, intros and stuff from Lucas that talks about a sequel trilogy even at the time. Like plans were there.
Plans.
So you're going, it should have ended. That was it. But the plan was always to have more.
Yeah, but how deep were these plans though? Was this like an offhand statement? It was like, I've got an idea for a sequel thing down the line. It's something we could do later.
It sounded more detailed than that, but
sure. Okay, look, you know what? I'm not going to argue on Star Wars because I feel like I don't care enough to actually research this shit. I really don't.
No.
Because you with your stupid shit.
I just realised.
So like, but like, I didn't need any more Star Wars after that. I didn't need any more. I don't know. Like, and it feels like I'm picking on Star Wars because I like to pick on Star Wars because Star Wars fans get really upset when you start to tell them that the extended universe should not exist. I don't actually care if the extended universe exists. It doesn't really faze me.
That's one of the weird things. Like, I don't understand. Like, I find it strange that you don't like not just Star Wars specifically, but extended universe of anything. You're not into, like, even things that you really like.
Yeah, there's very few things where I like to check out, like, books and comic books, based on the things. I typically associate them with just being bad. And not that they all are, I'm not saying that they are, but, like, I associate them with, like, whenever I've tried to read something like that, or, obviously video games are another big example where, more obviously, maybe my opinion of tie-in things being bad, it comes from video games because they typically suck.
That one I'll give you.
Because I tried playing The Force Unleashed for a little bit once, and I thought it was mind-numbing. And that's one that some people like. And again, And I know Knights of the Old Republic exists. Before people start storming the comments, look, I know, right? And I've played some of that. It's not bad. It's not bad. I like BioWare. At least, well, I used to like BioWare. We'll see if Anthem lives up to what it used to be. But whatever. Like, I just, yeah. I don't know. I'm just not that, like, because this is the thing. Like, I've enjoyed some of the Buffy and Angel comics, right?
Yeah.
And I'll probably keep reading those. But here's the thing, like, let's say Whedon decided one day to come back and do a movie or a new season. You know, let's do a revival. Let's do Buffy 30 years later or whatever he decide to do. You know, maybe Buffy's daughter's like a new Slayer or something like that. Whatever he's doing. Not only would I not blame him for not adhering to the continuity that was like continued on in the comics, I would actively encourage him to ignore all of it.
Do you know what? I'll agree with you on that one. Because obviously, you know, when Disney took over Star Wars and everyone was upset because they got rid of all of the EU. And I like a lot of that stuff. Don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed a lot of it. But there was so much, it would have been stupid to expect them to have to stick to that for new movies. I would have been. And I enjoy now where, you know, they've got a story group. It's like, right, everything is planned from the same people. So comics, books, movies, TV, all of it goes through the same office. So it's kind of all consistent. So now it feels like, okay, yeah, I can take this with as much weight as something else. But before, it was kind of always, it's canon until it's not.
It's a bit of a free for all.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. I don't know, I've just never been a big guy to like seek out these extra things. They always
it's like something like Firefly, which obviously you love.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, there's Firefly comics and stuff. Have you ever
read
any of them?
I read the earliest ones that they did.
Right.
There's an ongoing series right now, I think. I've not read any of that yet.
Yeah.
It's just this weird thing because I always see it as not really, even when they say it's canon, it just doesn't feel like it is.
You just don't look as it is, yeah.
It doesn't feel like it is. Like when I watched Buffy, right, or you know, especially when I get to the end of Buffy season 7, I don't really think that what happens in season 8 in the comics really happens next.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
It just doesn't feel like it does. It just feels kind of, and I just always kind of felt that way. But you know, whatever. If people like their extended stuff, it doesn't really bother me if it exists. But I just to wrap this back round to Karate Kid. We keep drudging up things from the past because people remember them. And well, occasionally there'll be something with a really good idea, or there'll be something that's completely fresh. Like, you know, Mad Max Fury Road was fantastic.
Yeah.
And like you could argue, did that have to be Mad Max? Well, maybe not, but like that's probably what got the budget to make it.
That's it, isn't it? It's like, yeah, okay, it doesn't have to be, but if that's what it is to get made, as long as it's a good end result, it doesn't really matter, does it?
No.
But I think a lot of the time you're right, they don't feel that good at the end. It's like, okay, it's another one.
That's an exception, yeah, rather than a lot of these other things where they drudge the names back up. Like, everything has to come back, and nothing can ever just let rest. And while there's some stuff that I'd quite happily get more sequels of forever, like, you know, I will happily. It's actually kind of ironic to me that in this era of bringing everything back and like churning out so many sequels to things, that all of the slasher movies in the 80s that were doing it then are all kind of on hiatus. Those are the one things that aren't doing it right now.
No one wants slashers right now. Get over it.
I want slashers. I always want slashers.
Can you imagine it? You don't really see many modern slashers, do you?
Unfortunately, no.
Like, I can't remember the last one at all. Not of note.
Well, the Hatchet movies, they were relatively notable.
Yeah.
It depends. I guess I'll just try to be more inventive these days, so they don't.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't want that, do you? You just want a cool killer.
You want an old-fashioned slasher, yeah. But here we're getting a new Halloween next year. We're getting a new Chucky movie this year. We get a Texas Chainsaw this year. The prequel to the original, not to be confused with the prequel to the remake that we already had.
Jesus.
Alright, let's move on to the next thing there, shall we? Well, I promised another continuation / reboot / remake thing. And
is this one better?
This is a reboot. Depends if you care about the property, I suppose. Do you like the Munsters?
Yeah.
Do you know what the
No,
Munsters
catch me.
are? Have you ever seen the Munsters at all?
I've not seen it. I've heard of it.
I've never seen the original show. I do remember watching a movie when I was young. It was probably a TV movie or maybe a straight to video movie because it was it was made in the 90s, I think.
Right.
And I remember liking that movie when I was a kid. It's probably shit if I watch it now, like, but I remember liking it at the time. So basically, NBC are trying to make a new version. They want to do a sitcom, The Munsters, and it's inspired by the original series that will follow an offbeat family determined to stay true to themselves in the struggles to fit in Brooklyn. The original, of course, only ran for 2 seasons, but of course in the 60s that was 70 episodes, which shows you how many episodes you got in a season in the 60s for a sitcom. So basically the idea was it was this like sort of spooky style family where the dad was Frankenstein's monster, the wife was Bride of Frankenstein, the grandpa was Dracula, and then the son was a werewolf. But then their niece, who was normal, lived with them, so she was like the straight man, if you will, in the family. And that's the premise of the show. What's funny about this is they actually recently did try and do like a new version of it. In 2012, Brian Fuller, there's that name again, made a pilot for them called Mockingbird Lane, which is where they live.
Makes sense.
And it had Eddie Izzard as the grandpa in it.
Oh man, I want to watch that.
They actually aired the pilot as a special Halloween thing, but they never took it forward. That was basically just, we made it, we'll put it out on Halloween to use it.
Well, I'm gonna have to go check this out. I'm a big fan of Eddie.
I don't recall the reviews being kind. I recall it being less than kind. So, honestly, I'm actually I like the idea of a Munsters show. I mean, again, like I just complained about bringing something back, whereas here I'm a fan of the concept, and I've never really seen the original show, so I'm kind of okay with them trying to do this.
Yeah, and it's the sort of thing where you can't, like a lot of these, right? Like Mad Max, we're going, oh, just do it again, but it didn't have to be Mad Max. Whereas this is kind of very specific. You can't give it another name and just go, oh, it's something else.
Yeah, because it'd be a rip-off of the Munsters.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
you have to call it a reboot.
I mean, the whole conceit here really is that you've got a family who are all based on these classic horror characters.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that, and you give it a try. This one certainly I think has more, at least to me, more potential. Like I say, the Karate Kid one could be good, but I just the premise of that, just the idea of bringing the Karate Kid into a TV show, just like what's next? I mean, what other movie from the 80s?
This has really bothered you, hasn't
It
it?
has. I feel like what the hell, like.
I can't remember the last time I saw you just wound up about something.
I mean, what's next? Missing in Action, the TV show,
Careful, don't give them ideas.
or I'm trying to think of other 80s movies. Commando, the TV show. It's like, what is his daughter going to be kidnapped the whole movie or the whole season?
I mean, we said that about Taken.
Yeah, and they didn't do that. They just gave us some shitty agent on the run show, didn't they? No one was actually taken.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
Oh dear. Like yeah. At least here though, because it was a premise for a TV show, I at least see the reason to want to like do it again. I wouldn't I don't get why they're bringing Roseanne back beyond maybe like actually wanting those characters back. Which to be fair, they are. They're getting all the cast back, and they're doing like for people who are fans.
Right, that's the sort of one where if they'd said, "Oh, we're going to remake it," I'd be like, "Yeah, but it's not unique enough to need the name."
Yeah, it's a family.
It's a family. It's a family sitcom.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's like no, it's Munsters. You've got to have the name of some sort, otherwise it's going to feel just like it's a knockoff.
Exactly. Whereas you could do what Roseanne was doing and not feel like a knockoff, because it's a family comedy that hits it's a working class family. That was Roseanne's whole thing. It was, it wasn't the middle class. It was more a family living paycheck to paycheck and dealing with all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so the Munsters has been worked on. It's just in development, so there's no guarantee it'll amount to anything. But not a terrible idea, I guess. I mean, it could be terrible. Like it's all down to the writing.
This is just down to the fact that you like those monsters. So it's like, sure, okay.
I like the Karate Kid.
Yeah, true.
Like I like that movie. I grew up with that movie. I don't need a TV show about it. It's weird.
No, you're right.
Watch me like the show now. Watch them actually make something that's really good. I think it's not really so much that this idea for Karate Kid is worse than a lot of the other ideas. I think it's just the tipping point where I've heard enough of these, like, let's bring these things back as TV shows now, that like it put me over the line. Put me over the line.
Yeah, I've not seen you this worked up about like a TV show announcement in a long, long time.
So let's get to some other news shows. So we'd heard about this in development a little while ago. This is the Coen Brothers Western anthology show, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. It's going to be 6 episodes. They're going to write and direct all 6 episodes, which is pretty cool. So each episode is going to be a different Western story. So it's essentially 6 like short Western movies from the Coens. So potential there, I think. The news, though, is that Netflix have picked the project up, so this is coming to Netflix, which I think is a fine home for it. I'm all
It is,
for it.
especially just down to, if nothing else, runtime.
Yeah, they can be like a full hour or so per episode, probably.
Like they can be really, it's like, oh, if this one needs to be, 70 minutes, yeah, go on then. And I think that'll really help.
No, I agree. Not much to add. I think it sounds cool. It's a good idea. Alright, so speaking of Netflix, we have their first original series that's been greenlit. It's the actual article phrased this in a weird way because it said, "Oh, it's their first Chinese language series," which is accurate technically, but that makes you think it's from China, so it's actually from Taiwan, who also speak Mandarin. Which also made me think, why not just say it's the first Mandarin series? Because
Yeah, that would be easier.
yeah, I don't know. It feels a little bit silly. Like it's like someone who doesn't know that China speaks Mandarin, Cantonese, just say, "Oh, you're speaking Chinese." No, Chinese isn't a language. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, so it's coming from Taiwan, and it's coming from director Sam Kwa. It's called Bardo, and it is billed as a jailbreak thriller with a karmic dimension. It's 8 episodes. They're in pre-production just now. It's expected probably sometime next year. Here's the description. And this is one of these ones where
Do I need to prepare myself?
this is one of these ones, maybe not quite the same as drastic, but it definitely goes down a path that maybe it wasn't initially
Okay. All right. Hit me.
set up. Bardo follows the journey of Aquan, a good man who has descended into crime and now awaits execution in prison. An encounter with a mysterious inmate causes him to experience events from alternative timelines. Learning that his son is in danger, Aquan escapes to protect his family, only to discover that he is a pawn in a much larger game. Blending Taiwanese Aboriginal mysticism and karmic destiny, Bardo, which describes the state of existence between life and death, is Aquan's search for redemption.
Look, I have to be honest. I was really hoping you were going to say demons, but this is cool too.
I'm down. That sounds
Well,
great.
me too.
This is
Yeah.
washing the stink of that Karate Kid show out of my mouth.
No, it sounds great. God damn it, Netflix are killing it sometimes.
They are. This is getting silly. Like I think we're going to get to a point where 90% of what we're reviewing is Netflix
Do you know
material.
what? I remember when there was where I was like, do you know what? Do I need Netflix? And then it was like, well, I guess I'll keep it for the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, there was a time when that was the only original, and I feel like in the last year we have got season 1 of Stranger Things, The OA, Travelers, Unfortunate Events.
Yeah.
What else was it? Glow.
Black Mirror.
Black, of course, Black Mirror.
Yeah.
But I was thinking of season 1s, but technically that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first season, so fair enough. But all these things, and I'm sure I'm forgetting other ones. There was something else this year, I'm sure, but it doesn't matter. But so many things. 3%. That was another one.
The Crown. I mean, not for you. But
Not for me, but yeah. So there's so many stuff, so many things, and like there's so many stuff we've talked about them having in development that I really don't want to just sound like, because obviously Netflix put out stuff we don't like. We didn't like Ozark, didn't keep watching that, didn't even try Gypsy. So they're making stuff that doesn't appeal, but there's so much that they are making that appeals to us. It's getting kind of silly.
It
Like,
is.
slow down.
It kind of gets to a point where it feels like every other week it's going to be something from Netflix.
Next year's going to be insane. Next year, like, because obviously right now these are all in development, right? But next year when all these start actually coming out, I feel like we're going to have almost a weekly Netflix show to talk about.
I feel like we need to just change our name to just something that reflects that we just review that much Netflix.
I don't think we can put Netflix in the name though. I feel like they'll be
No,
honest.
we'll have to get sneaky.
The lawyers will be coming after us.
Have to get creative on that one.
Mm, what's a cheesy way of saying net? Like instead of net, webflix.
I'm pretty sure that's like that sounds like it's the knockoff illegal
It does.
stream service.
It does. Webflix. Or net movies or
Web films.
net pictures. But that sounds good. Bardo. Note it down. Note it down.
I will forget about it next time you tell me. When you mention the name, I'll be like, "What's that?"
Note down Bardo. Taiwanese alternate timelines and destiny and life and death. Sounds good.
I'm really down for this.
Speaking of Netflix greenlighting original series from other countries, they've greenlit one and they've got another one in development from the same people here. It's the creators of an Israeli series called Fodder, which I've never heard of, but I'm assuming it's a big deal in Israel. But so they've got an Untitled project which has been greenlit, and it's Lior Raz and Avi Issacharoff, I'll go with. And Raz will also star in it, right? So that's the one that's been greenlit. It's untitled. It's inspired by actual events and follows a high-stakes global operation by the CIA and Mossad to track down and kill one of the world's most wanted terrorists.
Could be all right.
Could be.
It sounds a little bit generic, though.
I think coming from Israel, it's maybe got a different twist on it, though, because we're so used to seeing this from mainstream US media that I feel like
that's true. There could be something there.
And then the second one, I think it's amusing that the one that's only in development is not being greenlit. It's got a name, but the second one's called Hit and Run. There's no description for it, but that's what the second one is.
Cool, I love it. Hit and Run.
And I'm not even going to try and play the untitled project name of that one. I feel like any name we could possibly come up with will either be really generic or potentially offensive. So I am going to move swiftly on to the next thing. CBS is developing a nuclear submarine drama, which is untitled, from Alex Kurtzman's Secret Hideout Company. The series revolves around the crew of an American nuclear submarine that is rocked by a death on board that threatens to expose a major conspiracy and trigger a potential World War III. The central characters are a young female recent graduate and her father, the submarine's executive officer. Which, if I remember correctly, that's second in command, yeah?
Yeah.
That's the XO, yeah? Second in
yeah,
command.
the XO, yeah.
Yeah. Which I learned from Battlestar Galactica.
I think I picked it up from Mass Effect.
But
equally, we learnt this from spaceships, not real ships.
Battlestar Galactica was so realistic in how it portrayed, even though it was on a spaceship, it treated it in a very sort of natural military style.
Well, yeah, that's it. Space is it's still, I like because they're ships, so it always plays it as a navy.
The principles are the same.
Yeah.
So I trusted that they knew their stuff. They were doing things properly. This sounds okay. Like a CBS, so I kind of assume it's probably. Well,
that's it. I was like, it sounds okay. Then you go CBS. I'm like, okay, how do they make this procedural?
They can, though, surely. The premise alone does not lead to a what's it going to be? Every episode there's a thing that might almost trigger them having to send a nuke out to somewhere.
Would you put it past them?
Honestly, I might even watch that. Maybe comical, just all these reasons that they're almost going to nuke somewhere.
I'd love it if, season final is, right, we're doing it. Nuke's gone out.
So season 2 is the fallout.
Yeah, why not? They're all on trial for why the hell did you nuke that place?
Next up, we have a new series in development at Fox, being brought to you by the co-creator of Empire. And I knew this person was behind the camera now. I didn't know he'd co-created Empire. But Danny Strong is developing a new show at Fox. If you're unfamiliar with Danny Strong, he played Jonathan on the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And to be fair, in this case, that's actually a cool bit of trivia that he went on to become a showrunner guy.
Fine.
Come on, he's a producer now. He's a big wig behind the scenes.
Fine. Fine, I'll let you have it.
Alright, so they're developing a new project. Unfortunately, it sounds generic as hell. It's called Infamy. It's written by David Elliott, who's also producing with it. So it's got a script penalty commitment, so if they don't make it, they still get paid a certain amount. It is a female-led show that focuses on a law firm that specialises in tackling wrongful conviction cases and exonerating the innocent. I am pretty sure another network has the exact same premise. Just from the last time we were talking about all the pilots.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of law shows, right? But I feel like this exact premise, that someone's trying to exonerate people who have been wrongly convicted, I feel like that was the exact thing we just got a few months ago.
Probably is. Look, if you want me to watch your law firm shows, demons.
Or mermaids.
Yeah. I'm not sure how that fits into the law.
How does the demons fit into the law?
They can be wrongly convicted.
The correct answer, of course, is that there can be a law firm for demons, like the spin-off to the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer Angel, in which Wolfram and Hart were a big factor in that show.
Look, I'll be honest, I set you up nicely for that one.
You did.
So, I'm surprised it took you as long as it did, frankly.
Alright, next up. NBC is developing a show called Mosaic, and it's a futuristic tech drama, and it comes from I think the director of The Maze Runner, of all things. Although, I've never seen that, and I have no interest in seeing it, but I did hear that was okay in terms of, like, it was well made.
I don't know if I've seen it or not.
It's a good thing.
Well, the girlfriend likes that sort of stuff, so I've seen a bunch of them.
She's got shit taste, right? Check.
Right, yeah. When it comes to those, yeah. But
boyfriends as well. Let's not gloss over that.
I was hoping we could slip through without that one, but no. I mean, I've seen a bunch of them, but they all kind of blend together, and I don't know which was which.
Fair enough. Mosaic is set in a near-future metropolis and follows the interconnected lives of a diverse set of characters struggling to navigate their relationships in the face of emerging technologies. I mean, I like what I'm reading, but it's also completely vague. I have no idea what the show is really about beyond.
Where's this? What network?
It's NBC.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not dead in the water, but
it's not. But it might feel really clinical on NBC.
It might. Again, there's not really a lot to go on there in terms of what the actual story is going to be. It's just kind of like, okay, this is the world that it's set in. I mean, it could be good. I don't know.
I'm not going to write it off just yet, but I'm not interested either.
So next up, in fact, lastly, on this week's news, we have a new show in development from Spike Lee, who is teaming with rising star Chad Sanders. Here's what's funny. It's called Archer.
Well, now it's just insulting because I already like Archer.
Well, sorry, it's called Archer. It's a dark comedy and sociological thriller capturing the life of a 20-something African-American coding genius. And the coding genius, I have no idea what that word is. I'm just going to brush past it. And he's living in Brooklyn, who has developed a dating app that reads sexual chemistry. The central character is described as a young black Mark Zuckerberg type. The story will travel between New York, Silicon Valley, and Berlin's famously... Berlin? What's Berlin got to do with this? I feel like it said Berlin, like I'm supposed to know the part of it was going to be in Germany. Whatever. Berlin's famously sexual environment. What was it mentioned of Berlin? What's Berlin got to do with it?
It's where he trials the app.
Apparently so.
I kind of got no interest in this.
I'm not against the premise. I'm not. I just don't like Spike Lee that much. So
right, exactly.
It's hard to get particularly hyped. I just think it's funny that it's got the same name as a show that already exists. I wonder if they'll force them to change that. Like, I wonder if no one's noticed yet. It's like I can just see like one of the temps going to wonder and go, Mr. Lee, there's already a show on air right now.
Well, that's it. And Archer's not. It's not like it's a huge thing. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like it's a nothing show either. It's got a reasonable following. This shouldn't really have slipped past them.
It's getting shopped around. There's no network yet, so maybe when a network like it says, okay, we're interested, but The name's kind of in use right now. Well, so there
That
you go.
said, Archer's only got a couple of seasons left.
Yeah, sure. There you go. That's the news. So that wraps us up in terms of the news. And if you're annoyed that I spent too long complaining about Karate Kid, I'm still pissed off about Karate Kid, so I'm not even going to apologise.
Here, it's something I feel bad. I think I mentioned it to you during the week, but
What?
update on the Refn show from Amazon.
Yes.
So yeah, I mentioned it from an old comic, but from Brubaker, who's working on it with him. He's the writer. He had a comic out this week, and in the back he's confirmed, yep, shooting in the fall. So we can get that soon.
I wasn't as excited as I was hoping it was going to be.
I know, but it makes you feel. Look, this is like one of your most excited things for.
Anticipated. Anticipated is the word that one would normally use to say that sentence.
It is.
See, I told you your girlfriend had shit taste in men.
Not sure where that went. Just did you see the thing about the Orville as well?
I did not. I seen there was interviews about it because it was TCAs were still kind of going on.
It's not quite what I expected it to be because we watched it. It looks like it's a parody of Trek. Apparently, it's not at all. Apparently, all the all the comedy beats that are in that trailer, that's all of the comedy stuff from the first episode. The rest of it actually plays like a serious Star Trek style show. It's meant to be one of those, not a parody. Just thought, I thought, okay, that interests me a little bit.
So I might not hate it.
You might not, no.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently it's meant to be a very genuine, space exploration show, and not just a, Seth MacFarlane humor show. But of course, that's what they sound like. Apparently, Seth MacFarlane was actually really disappointed in the trailer that they put out because he thinks it's misrepresenting the show.
Oh, interesting. That was interesting. I wonder if this news about Karate Kid's misrepresenting what the idea is.
It's probably not. Oh, I can't wait till it comes out and you have to watch it and you have to hate it.
I mean, no, though. It may be well
I know,
done.
but I want you to hate it because it's funnier.
Because I want to make this clear. It's not that this could end up being good. There's nothing about the concept that the quality could be bad. It's just.
But you want it to be bad because then you go, see, I told you so. Told you it'd be shit.
I'm a bigger man than that, Connor.
Are you balls?
A bigger man than that. What was your favourite episode of TV of the week? That's what we usually do now.
Oh yeah, we do that, don't we? Well, it definitely wasn't The Sinner.
That's fair.
I'm thinking, was it Twin Peaks? But then Twin Peaks had a certain song at the end that makes me go, maybe not.
I'm picking Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks gets my vote. That was a good episode of Twin Peaks.
It was a good episode of Twin Peaks. I kind of want to give a shout out to Comrade Detective episode 4, though. I really enjoyed that episode. But yeah, it's probably still Twin Peaks.
I think I'd veer towards episode 3 out of the 4 we've watched.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think I might say 3 was a bit better, but I mean, there's not much in it. It's just
Game of Thrones had the best extended scene. It was like a 12-minute scene. That was definitely the best thing I watched this week. But as an overall episode, I don't think it's quite up there with Twin Peaks.
fair enough. All right, I guess that wraps us up for another week on the news. 20 minutes of which was me complaining about reboots and making fun of Star Wars. And don't take it too seriously, guys. All right, you have your Star Wars.
For the comment section.
Have your Star Wars. I mean, Rogue One sucked balls. It was like glorified fan
I'm gonna go away
wankery.
and watch it now.
No, Rogue One was, and Han Solo's not very much. But these spin-offs were like. Okay, one last little tangent about Star Wars, right, just to wrap up. Obviously, if you don't want this tangent, you can leave now, because we're at the end of the show, so thank you for watching, guys. But, so here's just my complaint, right? Star Wars, one of the things that's always said about Star Wars is that the universe is so big, you can do so much in the Star Wars universe, right? There's so many things you could do, so many planets, so many characters, species, races, all these things you could do with it, right? And obviously, I get why the main trilogy is kind of a continuation of the sort of the main storyline with the sort of our characters and
the Skywalker saga is kind of how it's being referred to.
Right. Well, we'll see if Rey turns out to be a part of that lineage. Because arguably, if it shifts and they're all new folk from new families.
Well, I mean, I don't agree with that. Kylo is still a Skywalker in blood.
Whoa! Spoilers. Spoilers.
Shut up.
What about the poor person who's been waiting? The poor person who's been waiting, and I feel like any country I say is going to be insulting to that country. So just like the poor person who's been in the Navy for the last 2 years and hasn't had a chance to watch his Star Wars film yet, The Force Awakens.
Even the Navy gets to watch Star Wars.
He's been at a secluded Antarctic base for 2 years. They've not had a chance to get Star Wars. He's been waiting all this time, but
Look,
he gets enough.
Go back and watch this.
He gets enough Wi-Fi to get through to YouTube. So he's been watching our news videos because he's a big fan. Not after this because I've been making fun of Star Wars, but he's a big fan. And then you've just whipped out that spoiler about who Kylo Ren is. How unthoughtful of you.
You're a dick.
I'm just in that kind of mood, if I'm honest.
This Karate Kid thing has really pissed you off.
So fair enough. Main films, that's all fine, and I think Force Awakens was a solid sort of nostalgic kind of continuation of that. Right? You could criticize it for not doing much different, but honestly, if you wanted more of that mainline Star Wars films, I think it did a pretty good job of that, and that's fine. So the spin-off that's coming next are clinging to stuff we already know about Star Wars. Right? I thought the part of the appeal, what had me excited originally, I was like, oh, we're going to do spin-offs that are standalones. I was like, yeah, do something that has nothing to do with any of these characters or any of these events. Do something on a planet far, far away from all this shit. I don't want to hear about Darth Vader. I don't want to hear about any of that shit. Right? Don't even mention the Empire. Have it be a small personal story. Like, have it be action and stuff, but, like, that idea about, like, Seven Samurai with Jedi, yeah, do that. Just have it be about.
I'm not disputing this. I think I can't wait for them to get to doing other stuff.
But no, they're so. They have to everything in Rogue One. It was like, hey, let's reference a moment from the old movies because you'll get this. Just have an object or a robot from the old movies because you'll recognize that and you'll do all this. And I'm pretty much convinced that this Han Solo movie, which has its fair share of troubles just from a production point of view, firing a director, well, pair of directors in this case, bringing in a new director, getting the lead actor acting lessons halfway through shooting, all these things don't spell for a good movie, right? But even without that, I am worried, I am terrified that I think it's a bad idea from the get-go to do a Han Solo young movie, right? But I am terrified that movie is going to be nothing but, remember the Kessel Run? Here's the Kessel Run. Remember he said that he got the Falcon in a bet? Here's the bet. Remember he said this? Remember he met Chewie one time? That's where he first meets Chewie. Remember is everything will be referenced in some way. That's all it's going to be. It's going to be nothing but references to things you already know. Because, that's the thing he mentioned in Empire. That's the thing he mentioned in Jedi.
You're not in a good mood today, are you?
I'm not, no.
So, no, I agree. I want them to do other stuff as well, As they say, there's a whole galaxy. There's, multiple, so many time periods, Look at what we've got from just the Old Republic, games at the very least. There's, a couple of, there's a MMO ongoing now. We still get story content. But it would be nice to see some of that stuff. But unfortunately, this stuff is safer in terms of box. I don't think it necessarily is. I think that Star Wars is enough to sell, frankly.
It is, which is why it's a shame. Like they have a basically get out of jail free card to do original ideas within the Star Wars because it's got the name Star Wars on it. It's going to do business.
Right. That's it. No, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Just putting Star Wars and then whatever movie.
But here's the thing, though. What are we even hearing about rumors for the next spin-offs? We're hearing Boba Fett movie. We're hearing, young Han, or not Han Solo, Obi-Wan trilogies.
Do you know
and whatnot.
what? That one I want. The Obi-Wan on Tatooine as a Western, because one of my favorite of the EU books is that, and it is just a Western. It's him being the reluctant hero, and It's none of this, fan servicey stuff. It is just him in a town trying not to get involved, but he can't help it. It's good. You can't be that against that idea.
Do you know what my problem with it is, though? Is all this wanting to get Ewan McGregor back to play him, and like I just don't want to be reminded of those prequels at all.
Yeah, but I like Ewan McGregor a lot, so I'm down.
All right, let's wrap this up then.
Yeah, we should.
I cannot wait for the comments.
We got so off topic this week.
Just opinions and all that, and not everyone has to love the main thing that everyone
But
loves.
you can tell Peter he's wrong because,
Sure, I mean, sure, you're wrong about me being wrong, but you can tell me I'm wrong. You have that option. That's fine. Sure. Now, hopefully after all that, you may still want to click like and subscribe and all that jazz. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel and everything we do here, you can head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv.
I swear, we do more than just argue about Star Wars.
We do. I mean, this is the thing, like, these news videos typically are the most tangenty because we feel like it is kind of more of a podcast. They just kind of, talk about it, see where it takes us.
It's not as focused as one of the actual reviews on something.
Yeah, but we tend to be pretty focused on those. Let us know what you think in the comments. Not necessarily about Star Wars. You can talk about the actual news, like Karate Kid, for example. How do you feel about that? This is another key area where you could be wrong in the comments. Another key area. But that is us, guys. So thank you very much once again for watching. We'll see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?